and real life.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss something which is very important, but most developers tend to ignore it because it helps you, but also it takes a lot of effort. What I'm talking about right now is testing. Now, let me give you a brief theory of testing before Daniyal will go into details about testing. The thing is, if you are developing an app which has a number of different functionalities, and what usually happens is that once you are developing an app, let's say you created a button, you test it by hand, manually test it. What happens then that you go, once you have tested it, you move to the second functionality, whatever that is. Maybe you are showing a list of to-dos and adding the to-do, you have tested it, and then you move to the second functionality. First thing is, anybody who has done development knows that anytime you test the code, nobody knows what is going to happen to the previous functionality. Whether there is regression, meaning that the first functionality has stopped working because you were working on the second functionality. Now, once you have completed the second functionality, you will have to test both of them, the first one as well as the second one. Now, if you have 10 or 20 functionalities, that might be comparatively easy. Imagine a large application which has thousands of functionalities. How are you going to test manually every time you deploy even a small bit of code, even a small new functionality, or debug some code? How are you going to test all the previous functionality? It's very difficult. The second thing is, recently what has happened is that with DevOps, most applications are right now using CI/CD, that is continuous development and deployment. Now, in testing, in development and deployment is critical. Why? Imagine this. If the code immediately goes to the customer, or every day or maybe every week, and all the new functionalities you have built in, how are you going to manually test all of them before being deployed to the end customer? There's only one way. You write a lot of tests, automated tests. These automated tests, basically, as soon as you push a Git, the development servant, for example, GitHub Actions, automatically, as soon as you make a Git push, the GitHub Actions basically run tests before deploying to the customer. Run tests which were written before all the functionalities which you have completed so far. Run the tests, and before deploying, make sure all of them pass, and even just allow after everything is passed. And if nothing passes, or if one or two of them fail, it will not allow you to deploy automatically to the end customer because you are not sure of your code. So therefore, now we can go even testing. The last few years, in the last 5-10 years, there's a new concept called test-driven development. What they do is, usually what I used to do is write tests after I've completed each functionality. Every time I complete a functionality, what I used to do is write a test. Then I started hearing about something like test-driven development. What that concept is, that even before you have written a single line of code, you write your first test. What happens is, you think about the functionality. Adil we'll go over a complete project in the next class. But right now, in this class, Daniyal and Zeeshan will basically cover it, the concepts and what do you call, the code required to do the tests, automated test, unit test, and all the rest of the stuff. So therefore, now in this test-driven development, what happens is that basically you write a test, because there is no code, the test will fail. Then you write code to make sure the test will pass. And once the test passes, it tells you that you have written. Basically, the test becomes a specification. The test becomes a specification for writing code. And test-driven development is going to be covered in detail by Adil next time, by showing you a project, by developing a project. But today, we are going to do it the old way that I used to do. That is, write test afterwards. At this stage, we are first going to learn how to write tests. What are the different tools available in React, and how do we write tests? How do we know they have passed? And we are going to learn the test harness. Daniyal, are you ready to cover the theory?
Yes, sir, I'm ready, and also I'm ready for CI/CD with test cases.
Okay, go ahead. Let's start.
Yes, hello everyone. As Sir Zia explained very well about traditional development and also about TDD. This is a testing driven development. So let me share. Let me share my screen first, then I share my slides. Yes, can you see my screen?
Yes, Daniyal.
Perfect. Actually, today the agenda is we need to learn why we are using testing, why it is important, and types of testing, how to write test cases, importance of testing, what is CI/CD with test cases, how to implement CI/CD, and benefits of this test cases. So first of all, what is testing? The testing is important since it discovers defects, bugs before the delivery to the client. Like whatever we are doing in development, and whatever you have done, whatever you have learned. What is this? You are just continuously developing. You are just continuously developing. Not write any test cases. You don't know in runtime. You can find the bugs. Your client find the bugs. So that is why we have the testings, and it is very important to find the
Daniyal,
bugs.
can you make the screen bigger,
everything.
please? Can you make the screen bigger? It's hard to see for the size of the text, maybe. If you can zoom it, or just present it, maybe.
Let me try.
I think if you just hit the present button on the top right.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, better. Thank you.
Perfect. So that is the purpose of testing. Testing is the process of executing a program with the aim of finding error. Whatever we are doing in the code, so how we can find the errors. So using test cases, we can find the errors. To make our software perform well, it should be error-free. That is why we implement the test cases. If testing is done successfully, it will remove all the errors from the software. So that is why we have test cases, and we have multiple approaches, multiple types of testing. One is, as Sir Zia briefly explained about test-driven development. Whatever we are doing, implement just enough code to make the test pass. Like, not do the whole application without test cases. Just do one component, just write one component, and suddenly write the test case. If that test case is passed, then do further work. So that is our test-driven development, and it is a modern way to build software. Same thing like that, we have multiple types of testing: unit testing, regression testing, integration testing, smoke testing, alpha, beta, and so on. So it depends on the requirement, what your client wants. So according to that, you implement the test cases. So how to write test cases? First of all, I share the React project with you guys. Let me create the project. Sudo npdir test case. Basically, React by default provide the test cases, dependencies, and everything. So let me show you how we need to implement it and how we can implement it. Demo, the name should be React test case. Once it's done, I will show you how we can implement the test cases. According to these slides, you guys can see here is we have a component. Whatever the component we are using, like this import app component, and just describe the cases. And here you can see the test case is running. It is passed or failed. You can show and how it is implemented. Let me show you. Actually, my target is to implement with CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. As you guys know about CI/CD, because you have already learned search using GitHub Actions. Am I right, Adil?
Yes.
Yes, we have learned
Yes,
search
exactly.
with GitHub Actions.
So right now, one more thing we will learn today, that is Travis CI. As you have learned GitHub Actions, same thing Travis. So there we can just test our test cases. After that, Zeeshan will continue the project with TypeScript. It is just completed. Okay. So basically, this project is just I created. Nothing I have already added in it. You can see here is we have a component app.js. Everyone is familiar with this component. When you will create the project, you will find this app.js component. That is our root component. But you had not noticed this app.test.js file. This one. This is for this component. This test case file is for this component. So whenever in this approach, test driven development, this one is this one. Whenever you write the code, whenever you write the component, start further development, just write the test case according to that component. So how we can implement it? So I just remove this all the things, and the most important and the beautiful thing is the test dependency by default React provide us. Sir Zeeshan will continue it in detail, but I'm just explaining it. I'm just showing you package.json file. Here you can see this testing library Jest DOM, testing library React, and that is all the dependencies. Jest is also a framework for testing, for unit testing. Jest, and Jest maintained and organized by Facebook. So React is also owned by Facebook. So this dependency you will get by default when you will create the project. So using this Jest testing library, we can define our test cases and we can run the test cases. So here you can see, here is we have, first of all, let me show you this. This is by default project is created, okay? And in this package or JSON, you can see here is we have the scripts. When you run npm start, so project is run. When you run npm build or a yarn build, so project build. Same thing like that. We have the test script. So when we run the npm test or yarn test, so it will run the test cases. So nothing we need to do, just we run this command. This is my terminal. Clear. Everyone can see my terminal.
If you can make it bigger, the text as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. This is in JS. Test cases. Zeeshan will continue with TypeScript and with details. So my target is CI/CD with test cases. So just one test case I'm implementing right now. So right now, what you can do, because I have the permission issue, so I run this command with sudo npm test. Enter it. You can see React test script is run. Now you can see no test found related to file change since last commit. Watch usage. So what we need to do? Press A to run all tests. Yes, I need to run all test cases in this project. Press A. Run source app test JS. You can see the file is auto detect by this React compiler. Okay. You can see here one passed, one total. Total case you test cases is one and one is passed. So what is this? Let me show you here. app.test.js file. Here we need to import this method render from testing library React, as I shown earlier in package.json. This dependency, this one. Okay, so using this dependency, we can find a render method, and what we need to do, we are now writing the test cases. So this is the method, and here we can define the test case name. You can define whatever you want, abc. You want app test case, you want your function test case name, like you have a function of addition, so you can define it here like that. And I will also implement one more to show you how it is created. And here you can see this. I just call render method. This render method which I get from this library. And here I can show, I can pass the component, which component I want. So this component is app component. So I just pass this component in render method. Okay. Now in this render method, I can destructure this get by text. So basically what I'm doing right now here, I am testing my text. This text is exist in this component or not. So most simple and basic functionality, most simple and basic test case, I am writing it here. Cancel it, hello world. So what basically I'm doing, I'm just testing in this component hello world is exist or not, nothing else. Once I just give my project the whole permission, otherwise it will make problem for me. Done. Okay, now this hello world, you can see here, this hello world exists here or not. Earlier I run the test case, so it was passed. Now I run it again. So what should be the result? It should be failed. You can see here total case is 1 and it is failed because expected result was this learn React. I just pass it here get by text, and text I have passed learn React. In this function as an argument I have passed this text. So when I pass it hello world. Then you can see it's passed. So same thing like that. Whatever the functionality you have, input field functions like sum, like addition, like multiplication. So according to your implementation, according to your code, you write the test cases. So right now, what I did, and Sir Zeeshan will write also much more test cases, because right now my target is just to implement the CI/CD with this test cases. That is why I just explain it in shorter way. Okay. I hope this is okay. This is all clear. If I want more test cases, so I just copy it and run it another test case. That is like a text case. The component is app, and the text should be hello PIIC. If it exists, the test case will pass. Otherwise, it will not pass. So you can see it here. One total, one pass, two total, one pass, and one failed. One failed just because this text is not exist in the component. So I just go it here and paste it again. So now it should be passed. You can see two total and two test cases is passed. So the benefit is this is just a less implementation, a very short implementation. I did it right now. According to your application, you have multiple features in the application, and you want before release in production, you want it should be run bug free. So this test cases is useful for production release fast and smooth for your clients. Okay, now what the target is, we need this whole this whole process automate, right? Because you can see right now what I'm doing, I'm writing the code, I'm writing the test cases, and again I'm running the command. So if I need this test cases run when we push the code on GitHub, the automatically code is built, automatically test cases runs. If the test case is passed, then deploy it on any server. If you are using Firebase hosting, if you are using Surge, I think you have done a Surge. Otherwise, am I right? In previous classes, you have done Surge.
Yes, we have done Surge.
So,
All the projects they've developed have all been on Surge.
wow, that's awesome. So we can deploy it on Surge using CI/CD. Okay. So what we need is right now here, like you have already learned GitHub Action. What GitHub Action did, they provide you the machine, one machine, and in that machine you automate you automate everything like build and then deployment. So you just write the script and deploy it. Whenever the GitHub whenever you push the code, any event occur, then GitHub Action runs. So same thing like that we are using right now, Travis CI. This one, this the benefit of Travis, they also provide to run test cases. Here we can also implement the test cases to run the test cases. If it passed, then we can deploy our application in any server, in any hosting server. It should be a search, it should be Firebase or anything else, or AWS or Google, anything else. So just sign up on this account, Travis CI. It's completely free. It's completely free. Now I'm going on our GitHub, because the target is whenever I will push my code using webhooks. What is webhooks? I will tell you, and I hope you have already learned, because you have already learned GitHub Actions, so you know about webhooks. So using webhooks, we call Travis CI, and in Travis CI we implement the test, the run. We will run our test cases. If it's successful, then deploy it on Surge. Okay, now I'm just creating a repository. Here it should be name what I made it a React test case. Okay, a React test case. Okay, create repository. Okay, just add it. I believe you have already learned GitHub and everything. So I'm just initialize the GitHub repo with my project. You had already learned GitHub desktop, I think. I used SmartGit, but you have already learned Git desktop, I think.
We've
So,
done this on the command line as well.
okay, perfect. So I just added my remote origin, and now I am going to add. Before adding and pushing the code, I just create, because as I said, you had already learned GitHub action, so you know about YML file and everything. So right now I am using Travis CI. So what I need is, because I will push my code on Travis, and Travis will run the test cases. If it pass, so then it will deploy on Search or anyone else you want. So here I just create a file on root dot Travis dot YML dot Travis dot YML, and here the code is provided by Travis CI and Search. Travis CI and Search provide us the code. So here I just write the code here. First of all, language, which language we want. We want Node.js, because we want npm in it. We want to install dependencies. We want to build the project, everything. So you know, Node.js is important to run that everything. So here is we have this is the stable version we are using. You can also write it here, whatever the version you want, 14.0.0, according to your application. But I am writing it here stable version. Whatever the stable version, it's a 14 or 14.7. So I'm using stable version here. Okay, this is very simple, and okay, I will leave. I'm leaving it the cache property. I will explain it later. Then what I need to do, npm install, and then npm test. Let me explain it to you what I'm doing right now here. Run build. Okay, once this Travis CI file, what I did it here, first of all, I just provide the language. The application is Python, so definitely we will provide Python. The application is on PHP, so definitely we will provide PHP. So right now we have React application. Definitely we need to install the dependencies and everything from npm. So Node Package Manager is come from Node.js. So first of all, I just provided Node.js here and just provided here the stable version. Then what I did, script, whenever it will push, just run this command. First of all, npm install. What Travis will do, Travis clone the repository from GitHub, and I'm telling this command will execute. Npm install the dependencies, then npm test. What I did it here, npm test. Same thing I'm doing, automate. The same thing I'm doing, automate. Okay, then I said npm run build. Once the test case is built, is passed, then run npm run build command. And then if it is all successful, then what you do, simple deploy. If you want to deploy it on GitHub pages, so just provide here GitHub pages. Or if you want or if you want search, because you have already learned search, so I'm giving the provider name here, search. This is the default property of Travis. Cleanup. This is the default property of Travis. So just write it like that. Then this is the most important thing, domain and project. This is the build, and on means branch. On which branch do you want? Which branch do you want to deploy? I'm saying master. So here in domain, you can see this domain. What we will provide here? We will provide very simple, what you have already done, search domain. So I never deploy on search. Let me try. If I'm anything doing wrong, so Adil bhai, please correct me. Okay. First of all,
Sure.
just create the build and then go into the build folder and then run the search command. Search is already installed in my PC. In earlier days, I used, but I don't use too much. So if anything I'm going wrong, so please correct me. So what I did, guys, all students, I just create the build. So do npm run build. What this command will do? This will just create the build of this project, and then what I did, nn means run this command, after this command, and after this command. Nn means like one, then this. So once the build is created, then I said go into this build command and then run this search command. So I believe it should be deployed. No. Okay, it is asking me running as Daniyal Nogori at yahoo.com. Yes, project should be in build. Okay, the domain it is provided. This domain we need it, and everyone knows about that because you guys have already done deployment on search. Now I'm clicking OK, upload and publish. Just let me confirm it is deployed or not. Perfect. Hello world, hello PIC. It is deployed. So this task we did manually, create the build, then we just deploy on search. So that is all we did manually. So we need this all things automate using CI/CD whenever we push our code. So continuous integration and continuous deployment we are trying to do with our test cases. So here in Travis, you just put your domain here. Deploy provider is search, domain this domain, on this domain deploy your code, and project this build is whenever this command is execute npm run build, so definitely it will create the build folder and deploy this build folder on this domain. It is simple, this, and the branch should be master. Here is any confusion to anyone, so feel free can ask. Now what we need to do, we are going again on Travis CI. This is very simple. Travis CI is very simple. I'm just refreshing it because I have already signed up, and I have signed up with GitHub. So sign up with GitHub. This has already all GitHub repos permissions. So now what I'm doing here, I'm just adding my repository. First of all, sync account from GitHub. You just sign in or sign up with GitHub. So definitely, so then when you will come on dashboard, this Travis CI have the access to your all repositories which we have created in GitHub. Okay. So now what I need to do here is I find it the repo React test case. React test case. You can see, guys, because Travis has the access of my GitHub repository. So you can see the repository is here. What I'm doing, I'm just activating this repository here in Travis by click on this button. Now go into the setting. Oh no, your permission are insufficient to access this repository setting because I have given limited permissions to this repository. So what I need to do, go back in the repository here, and here in the repository, here is I have the settings. Just click on the settings. Here you can just see here is where sand. Oh, in options it should be there. Okay, wait a second. Let me push my changes on GitHub, then I find it, the option. So do git add dot git status first of all. This is all live coding, guys, not copy paste. So definitely it takes some time to debug. Git add dot modify git commit dash m edit dot Travis file. Okay, so do git push origin master. Okay.
Is it connected?
Yes. Otherwise, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Saying it was already connected?
Yeah, repo is connected, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Repo is connected, yes. Let me check. It is here. Just refresh it. React test. You guys can see. Just I push the code using that .travis CI file. This test case is running, but this should be failed because there is something missing. And let me just debug it. Yes, now the file has access. Perfect. Now I'm going. Okay, so what I did, guys, I just pushed my changes on GitHub, nothing else, but using this travis.yml file. And here earlier what I did, I just connect my repository, this React test case repository, with Travis CI. So whenever I push the changes on GitHub using the webhooks, this Travis CI events will fire. So you can see this is running right now. But what I can show you here, this should be fail because here I want in the setting. Here you can see the option of settings, and here I need to add the environment variables. You guys already familiar with environment variables because you had done search and everything. So what I'm doing it here right now, I'm just giving the environment variable search login. Search login provide the email in which email you have logged in. So Daniyal Nogori @yahoo.com. And another environment variable we need, that is search token. And search token you will find, as you have already learned, search. So using this command search token. Just write the search token on CLI, enter it, you will get the token. Here you have the token, just copy it and paste it here and add it in the environment variables. Perfect. Now what we need to do is, I think everything is completed, just we need to run the push the code. But once it's completed, then I will push the code again. Then I will again explain it what I did. The npm install is running, which I have given here. It will take a few minutes. The first time it will take some time. The stable version, yes, npm install, test, npm run, deploy this. That is all looks perfect. So once it's completed, then I will again push my changes on GitHub. So basically what we did basically one thing CI/CD and another thing test cases. Using CI/CD, whenever we push the code, first of all we need to write our test cases. This test case is what we did in our application. All test cases first run this all test cases. If this all test cases passed, then run this command, npm run build your project and deploy it anywhere you want. So this is basically the CI/CD and the test cases. Once it's done, I will show you, because I know I will get the error. Treating warnings as errors because process.env/ci true. Yes, earlier I did not provide the test cases. Oh, sorry, environment variables. Yes. Also, I need to remove this logo, and I think now I should deploy. Let's deploy it now. Just need to push it on GitHub. Remove logo. Sudo git push origin master. When I will enter, you guys can see Travis CI will execute. Just need to provide the credentials. So right now you guys have one question should ask: how GitHub knows about this Travis CI? But when earlier I give the access to this GitHub repo, so here you guys can see in the settings. Here you guys can see in the settings. This is the webhooks. So what is webhooks? You have already know about webhooks. You guys can see here. Travis.ci hook is integrated with this GitHub repo. Webhooks allow external services to be notified when certain events happen, like push, like pull, like merge request, or whatever you want to implement. When the specified event happen, we will send a post request to each of the URL you provide. So this Travis CI basically, whenever I will push, so this whenever any event occur, this Travis CI event basically hit using this post request. Okay, so I just push the code and it should be running. Yes, it is running. It is running. Once it's completed, then it should be deployed. In this meanwhile, actually one option should be here, send all data. That is I don't know why it is not showing here. Okay, let's see. Everything is working now, perfect. So guys, you can see here npm test. It runs this command npm test, and here you can see source app.test.js, and here you can see 2 pass 2 total, because I have the 2 test cases here in the code. One is this and one is this. 2 test cases is passed. Then run this command. Here should be, yes, npm run build. It builds the project and deploy it on search. It should be deployed now. Let's see what will be happen. Yes, installing deploy dependencies, preparing deploying application, done. So it should be deployed on same URL, which I have already provided here. So now quickly, I just change some text in our component. Hello world, hello PIAC, and hello sir. Hello sir. Everyone is here, my sir. So yes sir. Okay. Also I just write the test case. Sorry. Third case. I'm just writing text cases. Sir Zeeshan will continue it, because they will give you more details about test cases. So if this is all done, this is done. Yes. Now nothing I'm doing. I'm just pushing my code. Sudo git add dot, sudo git commit dash and added one more test case, and sudo push origin master. I need to save my credentials. Okay, now it is deployed on GitHub, and you guys can see here. Here it should be run in few seconds. It's 34 seconds ago. Yes, added one more test case. You can see on master branch, because I provided here master branch, and on master branch I just made the comment, added one more test case. Now the test case is running. Once it's done, I will show you. Also, one more thing you guys can do: cache dependencies Node.js. Oh, sorry, Node modules. This. So on first time it will take some time, but later it will cache the Node modules, and it will deploy much faster. So it is deploying. Let's see what will be the result. So that is basically our test driven development as well. What you just write one component like about.js, whatever you do. Yes, RS. Like hello about, and create any function, any field. So immediately write the test case as well. About.test.js file, create the test file as well, like we have above. This app component app test file, same like that you create about test file, and here just create the test cases. So now I'm going back on. Yes, it is done. Your build exited. Everything is okay. Now I refresh it. You guys can see. Hello, sir. And with 3 test cases, you can see at the end I write the test case. Okay, sir. Anything else which you want from me?
Yes, Daniel. Send us an invitation to your wedding.
Well, let's see.
But in this COVID-19 environment, we will not be able to attend it. Therefore, that's why you want to get married as soon as possible. Okay, Zeeshan, let's start.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Daniel. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you so much. Now everything is hand over to Sir Zeeshan.
Okay. First of all, what we need to understand is why we are doing this testing. As Sarja has explained very well, Daniel did a project with the whole CI/CD. The important thing is which we need to understand. We are doing testing. Generally, we write a code and we hire a tester who do a manual testing. The tester which do a manual testing, run the application, filling the input fields, clicking a button, and all these things. So what you need to understand is when doing a testing manually, we need to do all the time these steps and we need to remember it. The tester need to remember it. So what we need to do, we are working on a software application. So what we need to do is we need to understand that we need to automate this testing process as well, so that a single person does not need to remember that if I fill the password correctly or not, I tested the click button or not, I tested the checkbox or not. So all these things should be done in automated way. Now, there are two things when we are doing automated testing. We can do automated testing for server-side code and we can do automated test for client-side code. The difficult part, the most difficult part which we test today is testing a client-side code. Running a test cases or creating a test cases for server-side code is much easier than doing for the client-side code, because for the server side, what you need to do is you need to hit an API or the function, and function returns you some value or an object. In case of client-side code, there is a much different world. Why? Because client-side code requires client-side application is in a browser-based application, or you are doing a desktop application or mobile application. But the most importantly, if we focused on the browser-based application. So in a browser-based application, what you need to test that if you click on www.facebook.com, it appears the input form where you can write a user ID and password and then click a button. So if it's a manual tester, he or she can do easily by typing a URL and then typing the user ID and password and clicking the button. Now this filling the fields and clicking a button needs to be automated. So what we need to do is we need to automate our UI process. What will happen in UI, what component available in UI, what UI element, is a button available or not, text box available or not, particular div has particular value or not. So there are a lot more things in client side testing which is not which does not need to bother about in server side. So for client side, there are a lot more things that we need to do. So first thing first, what React NPX, as Daniel has created application with it, React NPX, what it does is it can create a TypeScript project as well. So what you need to do is just write npx create React app, your app. I'm not going to run the command because it will gonna take time. Npx create React app, demo React test, space minus minus TypeScript. So what it will do is it will create a TypeScript project for the React. It is good as well as it is a bad, because there are a lot of dependency issues with testing, which I faced today, and I'll explain you in a bit, and how we need to overcome those issues. So there are a lot of dependencies issues if you are working with the testing and with the React application. So write npx create React app demo and minus minus TypeScript. So what it will do is it will create this project which Daniyal has showed a moment ago. So it will create this just simple application. It will have nothing but the app component and a test case file. So what we need to understand is this test case file first, what it has. As I have mentioned that what we need to do is we need to test UI component. So what the client-side testing library does is, or many other client-side testing libraries, they provide you to the access of a component without visualizing them. So you do not have a UI access of an application, but you actually have a component which represent a browser component, so that you can call it, you can use its element, you can do whatever you want with that particular element. So this test case is written by the default template, so we do not need to worry about it. Import render. If you know, as we have done a lot of component writing, app, it's a component and it's written, and there is a render function which functional component does not show, but class component shows. So this render function is the testing render function. It's not an actual React render function. It's a testing render function. What it does is, what we do is in index.ts, we call react dom.render, and we type, if you ignore this strict mode, we type this app. So what we are doing is we are rendering app component. So it will render app component in a browser, but we don't need to do it in a browser because we need to test that component directly. So what a testing library does is, when you call a render and you provide your component, we have imported that component. So it creates an object which has all the UI element, and it's what you say, it's a wrapper, an object which gives you access of an object which is expected to be on a browser. But in case of React, this library, it gives you some other functions so that you can access DOM elements and you can test that that particular element exists or not, that particular element exists or not. So you have a one object, one function called get by text, which returns you an object which has lot other things so that you can access a DOM element from it. So you call get by text, and in get by text, that means you are saying whichever element has learned React text, bring that element. So let's go to the app component, and we have a div, we have header, we have image, we have p tag, we have a tag which has learned React text. So what it is saying is bring element, and it will bring the single element. If there will be multiple element, it will give you error. I'll show you in a moment. So bring an element which contains learn React text, get by text. So you will receive that element, and then this testing library provide you a function expect. Actually it's a jest library. Expect, that means we are expecting something, and we provide the element which were received to us, we provide this element, and we are saying to be in document. That means we are expecting that there is a component, there is an element in app component which contains learn React, and it should be available. So if I run this directly, there is nothing else. It's a simple create React app. So there is nothing new. All the files, everything is same. Just we are right now we are focusing on this app.test file. So what I'll do is another thing. In app.js, it gives you a script test which runs the React script. And as Daniyal already mentioned, it imports multiple testing libraries. And that's the bigger problem. Why? These are the older versions. Currently, this React test is 10.47. This library imports 9.32. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So that's what I was saying, that this is a bigger problem because these library versions are older. So gives you a lot of problem. But for the basic example, we are fine. We'll see what changes needs to be done. So what I'm going to do is I'll just run yarn test. It will run this command and it will run the test script with the yarn. So once it will run, it will give you the output which says one test pass, one test pass, one test through this pass. So what we need to understand now is what else we can do. We can get by text. What else we can do? So this render return an object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in an object, and then I'll call this object like this, and I'll print that object in console so I can show you what else available to us. So still running. So it will return object which has get all by text, get by role, get by what you say. You can find this over here.
Your voice is breaking.
Taking time. My voice is breaking. Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Is it fine now? Okay. So
Yes.
as test is taking time to show, it's we have the output now. So my console.log mentioning an object which has all the elements, which is under object, a dev element, and it has unmount, re-render, fragment, query all by label text, get all by label text. That means you can call the get if your DOM has a label element, so you can get the label element. Get find all by label element, query by placeholder. If your element has a placeholder, so you can search a DOM element by the placeholder. So in that way, you can you need to test your application UI, that some div element exists or not, some text box exists or not, some label exists or not. So this is the UI testing. So you need to test your UI component. So that's why these are the functions available. The get by text, which we have tested just a moment ago. Get all by text. If you have multiple element with the same text, so you will use get all by text. Get all by display value. This you can do with select box. Get all by alter text. So if your DOM exists, DOM has an element which has alter attribute, so you can call this. So there are a lot of functions which you can use to test your DOM, that particular DOM element exists or not. I'll just show you one. As we have this image element with the logo, and it has alt attribute. So what we can do is we can call const image, whatever you can name it. You can name it ABC, but it's good to be explanatory name. Equals to render object, that's my obj we have created moment to get all. Just need to check this spelling. Get by all text, and I need to mention which alt text I want. So this alt text has logo, so I'll mention the logo, and then I will say expect. I'm saying I'm expecting an image element, or you can say an element, any element to be in document. And then I'll run the test case. So it should return true. All test case should be fast because we have this element. It's running the test. You can also verify this by finding this library, and it has a GitHub, and it is in the documentation available. So you can see all the functionalities available in testing library.com docs reading API. So it will give you all the options, whatever you want. Queries actually have all these functions. Get roles and all these functions which I have mentioned using the object, you can see over there. Okay, so do we have test pass? Yes. Okay, so our test is passed. That means we have this element in our DOM, and it exists inside the DOM. So instead of looking at the UI, that particular image exists or not, particular element exists or not, we are doing it automatically with the automation. So we are testing UI with automatic testing. That's an important part while testing, because there can be two type of testing for UI. One is black box testing. Black box testing is You just do click, 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 fill the box and click the button. Here, what we are doing is we are actually doing a black box testing, but with automation. So these are the two. This is the basic first test which we can verify. Now, the problem is our target would be to the third article which Sarzia has mentioned with the TypeScript. But the problem is when you create an application with default React command, it gives you these libraries. So I had to do multiple tries so which can work. So what we can do is once you create a library, you just have to remove these. So what you can do is yarn remove at the red testing dash library slash just dash com. So it will remove. So you have to remove these four libraries. Once you are done with it, then you can come to this article. It it provides you to install type/jest React library type/jest tom jest and txjest. These are the testing libraries that you need to install. Few of them already installed, but they are the older version 9.3. The actual version you need to install is which I have in a separate another project. It's 10.47, 5.11, and the latest one. And these are this is the biggest confusion when you try to install these libraries.
Your voice is not. Can you hear to Zeeshan? Otherwise,
I think Zeeshan has dropped maybe his
yes.
connection, but yeah, I think he's been.
This just.config.
Zeeshan, we lost you for a minute.
Okay, so where we were lost, I was showing this JS config file.
You were, I think you just
You ran
finished
the
the
command. You ran
conversions.
the command last time.
Yeah.
I ran the command. Okay, okay. So what I was mentioning in the command that what we need to do is we need to remove those libraries from our project. If you try to delete directly, it will take time. So what you can do is you can type the command yarn remove test library JS DOM for React, for user event, and for Jest. For you have to do these for all these four libraries. Remove them. Once you are done with it, then you come up with this article. On this article again, this is a third link which Sarja has mentioned in his list, and you can install these libraries. These are the few of them are the same, but once you install them, you will have the latest version which I have in my separate project because there are a lot of versioning and installing takes time. So I have done this already. So as you can see 10.4.7, the default version has 9.3. So there are a lot of problem because of that. So once you're done with it, it will install the latest testing libraries, and then you can see what it says is you need to create just.config.js file, which is this Java JS file which contains testing information, and you need to remove this. This is a deprecation. It's deprecated, so you don't need to add this cleanup each. So I have added this file in my project as well.
Zeeshan, could you repeat this? What did you say? What do you have to remove?
Basically, the problem is when we create React project with TypeScript flag, it gives you the test. But the problem is the version of these libraries are older. 9.3 is way older for the React DOM library. So what we need to do is we need to add the latest to remove these 4 libraries.
I think you're stuck again.
Yeah.
Actually, Sir Zeeshan just trying to say you need to remove the dependencies of all the testing.
Yeah, I
I think
understand that. I understand that. I didn't understand what he was showing another file. There was some replication there, and he was removing that.
The cleanup thing, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Adil, when you are in the next class, when you are going to basically cover it, you can do it from the very beginning.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
yes.
Okay, so let me explain again that once we create a project with default TypeScript project, it adds all the testing libraries but with older versions. So as you can see, 9.3 is way older than it should be. So that's why what we need to do is we need to remove these 4 libraries, the JSON and
You're stuck again.
Yeah, Zeeshan, your internet is unstable.
Okay, what Adil we are going to do is, Dania, we are going to do is basically we are going to continue at this point.
Your
Zeeshan?
network is unstable, Zeeshan. We're having a hard time. So I think we can stop. We can stop here today, right? And then we can pick it up next time, maybe.
We have covered everything. Just Sir Zeeshan wants to explain the
okay.
dependencies should be updated.
That's all. That's all. That's an easy part. But you,
Okay.
Zeeshan, you also mentioned that in a particular file you deleted a line. What was that line?
Config file.
Yes.
You need
Okay, just
to line which set up after event.
yeah.
You need to just yes, this line you need to remove it because it is deprecated.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody.
So what I'll do is I will push my project because it has all the libraries set up, so it will be easy for you.
Okay. Can you give us the URL? Just create the repo. Just create the repo so that we can.
Okay, just a moment. Let me get a repo. It will be React TypeScript testing.
Yes.
React TypeScript testing.
Perfect. And you will push the code here, and everybody can see the code there.
I'll push the
Okay.
You can see in Notepad.
Okay. Other next time you are going to take over and build an app using test-driven development, and we will sit back, all 3 of us, and enjoy.
All right. See you guys on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you
Bye.
guys. See you. Take care. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.